Hey there, nomads of lore.
Maestros of mirth and mythology.
I'm Jonathan.
And I'm Sean.
And we are Mead and Mischief, your home away from no home.
That's right. Today we are going to be talking about Star Wars Rise of Skywalker Visual Dictionary. We have said in our reviews that this is basically required reading for Star Wars Rise of Skywalker,
Very much
which is, of course, a knock against the film from a certain point of view, and we don't disagree with that at all. However, we enjoyed the film a lot. You can check out our reviews to find out more. We'll put links down in the description. And we think it's much better with the visual dictionary.
That's right. So we've got a top 10 list for you. We've also got an honorable mention. I guess we'll get started with that if you want to go ahead.
Sure. So one of our favorite characters in Rise of Skywalker was D.O., the little cone-shaped droid, which actually even more honorable mention and bonus content is it was voiced by J.J. Abrams himself.
That's right.
And he's a really cool little droid. And in the visual dictionary, it talks some more about his history and that fact that he was originally made by a custom droid manufacturer. And then that droid manufacturer was killed by the Sith assassin that Luke's was looking for before the film, and that they go find his ship. And then he claimed that droid is his own because he was a kind of a droid manufacturer too on the side, which is kind of odd, but that explains why the droid is so kind of cautious and scared and, and whatever else. It's just kind of cute, a cute character and a fun little backstory.
Yeah, that's great. Mm-hmm. All right, so we're going to start with number 10, and that would be the fact that Rey, her training was on the same planet, which is what is the planet name again?
Ajan Kloss. I'd have to look at it.
Kloss.
Yeah, something.
It's on the same planet as where Luke took Leia to do her Jedi training. We thought that was pretty cool.
Super cool.
Yeah.
So our number 9 was the fact that in Star Wars Rebels, the TV show, which really enjoy that. It's a great show. Check it out. There's a fan favorite episode where Ezra goes and he goes to this place called the World Between the Worlds is what they call it in that show. And so it's canon because Rebels is canon, but in the visual dictionary, there's a little blurb in there talking about it, and it shows from the Jedi text that's Rey's reading that Luke collected. It kind of shows a diagram of how that works. And so it's even more canon now. And it's just a cool little throwback to the extended universe fan. There's a lot of that in this film.
So number 8, we've got Mustafar, which is the planet that you see at the very beginning of the film where Kylo Ren is running through and he's killing some odd looking aliens, which actually happen to be Vader worshippers. Mm-hmm. And the Mustafar is where Vader set up his castle. Yep. And so that was a cool little...
Yep. Only been seen on film in Rogue One. Yeah. At the very end.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So that's the second time on film. Very cool.
So number 7 was the fact that in the visual dictionary, it reveals where Starkiller Base exists. And now, if you remember, Starkiller Base is not even from this film at all. The first part of the visual dictionary talks up some backstory stuff, and one of the things it talks about is Starkiller Base. It turns out that Starkiller Base used to have another name. The planet did, or maybe still does. It was called Ilum. Now, if you don't know what Ilum is also makes an appearance in the animated shows, makes an appearance on Clone Wars and in Rebels, and it makes an appearance in this new game, Jedi Fallen Order, which is cool. I'm sure we'll talk about more later, but it is the planet where Jedi Padawan would go to start building their lightsaber because the planet's core is made of kyber crystals. And so the fact and that's why Starkiller Base was able to be Starkiller Base, because the entire middle of the planet is kyber crystals. And so that was able to power that mega weapon. So that was pretty cool.
That is awesome. All right. So number 6, I believe, is where we're on. Mm-hmm. Yep. we've got Luke's force projection. So in actually the previous film, it happens to be in this visual dictionary for this, but it's actually in The Last Jedi where Luke force projects himself to stand and semi-fight Kylo Ren in front of, I don't remember what planet they're on, the red...
Crate.
Yeah, Crate. That's right. And so it talks a little bit more about his force projection ability and where it came from in those older Jedi texts. And it talks a little bit about how hard it was on his body to do that, and kind of gives you the reasoning of why he died, a little more feel for why he died after the force projection.
Super cool.
Yeah.
So number 5. So in this film, actually it was first debuted on live in The Mandalorian, and even before that in Clone Wars. But Rey gets a new ability in this film. She gets the ability to heal. She heals the snake creature. I can't remember what it's called. I have to go look in the visual dictionary. But she heals the snake creature, which is super cool. We've talked about that scene in some of our other videos, which again we have links to. But what was really cool was that she learned that ability. It gives an explanation for where she learned it, which of course was from the Jedi text. It's gonna be kind of, which will be interesting. That's liable to be a catch-all later for future filmmakers. Oh yeah, it was in the Jedi text, so now they can spit fire or whatever. I don't know, whatever. But that's in there. And that's cool. It came from there. One of the cooler things to me is one of the really weird and disconnect moments is when you see Anakin / Luke's old lightsaber in this film. You think, wait a minute, that got ripped in half when Kylo and Rey are sitting there struggling with it, trying to force it away from each other, and it breaks. And so how does this lightsaber exist? Well, it turns out in the visual dictionary, we find out that Rey actually used that same healing ability to heal the kyber crystal in that lightsaber and rebuild it. So it's, again, you wouldn't have any clue unless you read the visual dictionary. But it's pretty neat tidbit.
Okay, so number 4, we've got a scene kind of at the end of the film where Lando is sitting next to this character, which her name ends up being Jannah, and he kind of talks to her about possibly finding out who her parents are, where she came from, whatever. It's kind of a very ambiguous scene, kind of could pull a lot of weird, strange, or different meanings from it. Who knows what it means? And so, but what's really cool is I think in the visual dictionary, there's several little things that they kind of sprinkled throughout to maybe possibly lead you to believe that she happens to be Lando's daughter that he had to give up. So anyway, I thought that was cool because it kind of ties that strange scene together.
Right. Absolutely. We talked about that scene in other videos. Yeah. It's an odd one. If you don't know more. Okay. So our number 3 was the Knights of Ren. Knights of Ren, we were talking about before we made this video that honestly, the Knights of Ren are almost the Boba Fett of the new trilogy. Because in the film, they're this kind of super cool, ominous characters, plural, there's 6 of them. And they're there, they're this cool presence. And then they have kind of an anticlimactic death at the end. Kylo just kind of mops the floor of them, and it's I mean, they don't get burped up by the Sarlacc at the but it's still basically the same idea. They just die. Well, the visual dictionary goes a long way to rectifying that issue. There are, in fact, 3 full spreads on the Knights of Ren, 2 talking about all of them, giving them names and backstories and all that stuff, and then a full spread on their weapons, which are really cool, and how they come about. Most of them are custom made weapons and how they make them and all of those things. And so that's really neat. It fleshes them out. I hope we see more of them. I suspect in the new Kylo Ren comic, I'm sure we'll find out about it. It talks about Kylo kind of earning his place as the leader of them. They existed before he was Kylo Ren, and so he apparently went out and earned his way to being their leader. And it's interesting too that you wouldn't necessarily get that the Knights of Ren were called the Knights of Ren before Kylo Ren. So he's named after them, not the other way around, which I thought was pretty cool.
That's very cool. All right, so number 2, we've got one more character whose name is Beaumont Kin, or Mary, as some of us know him from Lord of the Rings. And he's a character in this movie where he kind of just, he comes in and you're not quite sure where he came from, why he's there or anything. But he's like an expert on the Sith, almost, on some of their knowledge, of why Darth Sidious happens to still be alive. Yeah. And so that's super interesting. But the Visual Dictionary goes into depth on him about the fact that he's a linguist and some more things that make you realize why he's there, and it's not just so tossed in at the last second. It's not just a cameo from a famous actor,
right?
But there was a reason for his character, or at least they made a reason for his character. Right. So,
well, I don't know. We won't talk about things we don't know.
Yeah.
Okay, so number 1. These have been kind of in order of how we thought they were kind of important or exciting. Some of them are they could probably go in any order.
Oh, definitely.
Number 1 was our definite number 1. Yep. There was no debate at all. So one of the, if not the best Star Wars game of all time is Knights of the Old Republic. And made by maybe BioWare. I don't remember who made it. I'd have to go back and look. I think it's BioWare. Yeah. But anyway, it's a phenomenal game. Super, super great. Wonderful game. Wonderful twist. Maybe predictable. I don't know. I've seen some people say it was predictable. I didn't think so. But maybe I was just dumb. But anyway, in Knights of the Old Republic, there is introduced a amazing character called Darth Revan. I won't spoil the game because honestly, it's still worth playing today. You can go get it on Steam or even on mobile in a lot of places. And so I won't spoil with who his character is, but he's an amazing character. And the Visual Dictionary officially canonizes his name, which we won't know it. So let me explain. Later in the Visual Dictionary, it talks about the Sith troopers, the red armored stormtroopers, which are super cool design. I love all the red accents on the cool Sith stuff. They were trying to go for something that was ominous looking, and I think they succeeded. Super neat. But anyway, it talks about, in the Visual Dictionary, it talks about different legions, and they're all named. And one of them is the Revan Legion. I don't remember the number, 37th or something. I don't remember. But that's super exciting. I don't know whether that means that he was a legend and so he, and wasn't real, but they named that, or if he really was a Sith. Time will tell. I hope he's more canonized. There's a lot of cool things they could do with it. Another one, this is kind of a slight honorable mention there, is it also lists the Darth Tenebrous Legion, which is cool. He was, if you don't know, he's even more obscure and less exciting in my humble opinion, but still he was Darth Plagueis' master, which Darth Plagueis is definitely canon. He's talked about in films even, because he was Darth Sidious's master, who, if you don't know, was the Emperor, and who's back from the dead. Again, spoiler, too late. But anyway, that's our list.
Yep.
So absolutely go check out Rise of Skywalker Visual Dictionary if you haven't. Those are our favorite things. Honestly, there's so much in here. Yeah, this is, if you like Star Wars and you liked the film, or even if you were kind of meh about the film, this is worth the purchase. It's not very expensive. Absolutely worth getting. We loved it. So if you have it, let us know down in the comments what your favorite parts were. What parts we didn't say. What things would you like to see in canon?
Don't forget to like it if you liked the video, or dislike if you did. Subscribe, hit the bell, all the things. We'll try to link some of these things in the description. We actually have page numbers of where these things are in the Visual Dictionary, so we'll put that below in the description. And you guys have an awesome day.
See you later.
Later.